Okay, so I am Staff Sgt. Prince from MWSS 172 and born and raised in Syracuse, New York.
What did you do there?
So yeah, back in Washington D.C. at Marine Barracks 8th and I was an enlisted aide. So what that is pretty much a personal chef for general officers within that community, as well as, or within the Marine Corps, excuse me, and as well as coordinating events for them as far as their parties, receptions, and the Tuesday and Friday evening parades. That right there and alone is just an incredible job to do. To be able to witness that as far as the challenge drill team and working with those general officers hand in hand is quite the experience. Quite the experience. So the difference of that is just mainly, honestly, just the ingredients we are provided for us. There's no difference as far as the food quality or the people we interact with. It may not be general officers on a constant basis, but to be able to work with these Marines, the enlisted personnel out here, and to provide them with a chow, 5-star quality, whether in DC or here, is nothing different. Honestly, the experience of it all is. That may be different traveling to foreign countries, because whoever thought they'd be in Thailand, you know. So it's quite the same, honestly. The only thing, like I stated before, was just the ingredients provided. We have essentially giant MREs that we have to use, and to be able to use that and to spark the creativity of the Marines, the skill set is limitless. So the differences in working from DC to here now with MWSS 172, being in the field environment, the differences are very slim. Maybe the quality of what we are afforded, pretty much, is what I would say the difference is. But other than that, everything is still the same. We still do our best to provide 5-star quality food. We still boost the morale of the Marines or anybody we come in contact with. So it's definitely quite an experience. I mean, the op tempo may be a little different as well, but that's about it, honestly. So trying to teach the Marines out here mainly is to be creative. What can you do to make this product better? How can you enhance it in a way? So by teaching them, utilizing what we have.
I'm just gonna stop you right there.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to teach the Marines while being out here is how to be creative. What can you do to enhance this product? How can you make it better, in a sense? Given that we take, like I said, these large MREs, what can you do to make it better? How can you change that Marine's mind on food service? All right, to do that, we have to first change the culture. Change the culture of what they're used to. They're used to having regular heat and serves, put in some boiling water, and serve it up. That's what they're used to. But to do that, we have to first be able to strike the creativity of the Marines to be able to want to do that, make them strive to be able to be better, and to change the minds of food service to everyone around us. So by doing that is making it relatable to them. A lot of people relate to sports or family or religion, and to do that, to relate that culinary to what these Marines are passionate about, is limitless to what they can do. For example, we've had Marines out here who've never had pound cake or banana bread or pineapple upside down cake. And to relate it to him to where he can understand what it is, it was a totally different person. And the Marines out here enjoyed it. They loved it. It was, to them, the best thing they've ever had, because who can say they had banana bread in the field, So it was pretty cool. It was great to watch, honestly. So by adding flavors to the UGRs, is basically, being in foreign countries, we tend to have these off-base libels. And by doing that, I take the opportunity to go to the local grocery stores and visit the local farmers markets and try the spices, try the ingredients they have, and then try to see how can I incorporate that with the food that we're serving here to make it better for the Marines. And so we go to these towns, we go to the stores, we buy it, and we experiment with the food. Let's add a little bit of spice, let's add a little bit of this. Because Thai food is typically very spicy. And sometimes it can be a little intolerable, but we try to keep it moderate to where everybody can still enjoy it. And that's how we do that. And the reaction that we get from the Marines is, wow. The look on their faces, when they take that first bite, is something different. And that's how we are changing the breed of what the Marines are used to, changing the culture of what they're used to. To me, it's important to add spice and flavor because of what it can do to people. You serve somebody a bland piece of chicken, grilled chicken, a health fanatic will love it, but to your average person, they'll add their own stuff to it. To prevent them from having to pick up anything but just a fork and knife, cut into it and eat it, and just be satisfied with that bite, that's why it's so important to me. To be able to change the minds of everybody around me, change the mood. So people come in, they have a bad day, it's really hot out here, they're miserable, there's no AC, or whatever the case may be. And for them to come in here to a nice, cool, relaxed, calm environment and to taste some good food that's been flavored to the max, it's speechless, honestly, to what it does. And that's why it's so important to me to practice that and to teach my Marines that, so that when they go and they become, corporals, sergeants, staff sergeants, they can teach their Marines and they can tell them the importance that it has to them as well. So some of the things I would like them to walk away from this exercise is mainly to experiment with the food. Who can say they had authentic Thai food and know what it tastes like and can infuse it to what they know? And that's my biggest thing for them to take away from this operation, is to try the food, taste it. You may not like it. It may taste funny, it may feel funny, and the way it's prepared may look weird. But to take that, infuse it to what you know, and to create something new is an experience in its own. And to have that pushed out and to say, I did that, and we can do it together, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But it's one of the many things that I really push for these Marines to do out here. To eat a scorpion. How does it taste? You think I'm not eating a bug. I've always used to say that. And to eat a scorpion, it was quite the experience. Very crunchy, but it was quite the experience. It's like eating. You already take a handful of potato chips, and that's exactly what it's like. And so, how can you mix up scorpion? We can candy it. We can put it inside of like a caramel or some type of sauce, and we can grill it, and that's how we can enhance that scorpion. And to have the Marines taste it and be like, I ate scorpion and I loved it. That's the biggest thing.
What's your philosophy to smile on?
The passion I have for the food, the passion I have for culinary period is what drives me to do that. Learning the different techniques, learning the different ways to do it, it amazes me, and it pushes me to go harder, and it pushes me to go to train more in my field. For example, we have the powdered eggs. Everybody knows about the powdered eggs. Nobody likes them, but to do that and to incorporate it and to show them there's different type of ways to scramble it and to how we can infuse it with what we have. So for example, for scrambled eggs, there's three different ways to scramble eggs. You have easy, medium, and hard. Hard eggs is what people typically normally go for. All right, but the easy they don't, or the medium they don't, because it's still a little runny. But being as though it's cooked up to temperature, you can still consume it and be healthy, and it won't harm you. So, for example, we have bagels, right? We take a bagel, we have bacon, and we have scrambled eggs. We can do a sandwich, or we can do something of that nature to make it better. So by taking the bagel, putting it in the oven, toast it, take the bacon, make it real crispy and thin in the oven as well, and taking the eggs and doing a medium scramble. Because after that, it's going to continue to cook, and you have a decent hard scrambled egg. And to serve that, and you can kind of turn it into like eggs Benedict, if you will. You know what I mean? But the eggs are kind of counting as the egg and the holiday sauce. So doing that and can honestly change the mind of people around us. They may not see that a lot, eggs Benedict in the field, or how'd you make that? How'd you even come up with that? It's what my drive is, what makes me want to push harder to make this food a lot better for these Marines. I'm very passionate about what I do, down to the T. And wise man once told me to be passionate about something is to be crazy. And learning that now it's kind of true. I'm a little crazy when it comes to food, to what I can do and how I operate with it. I can say I'm a little crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much all in a nutshell of what makes me what drives me to do better.
Where did your passion come from? You said that your original
Yes.
So did you have any interest in food at all, like cooking or anything before that? What started your passion for food?
Okay, what started my passion for cooking? Yeah, like you said before, when I joined the Marine Corps, it was either amateur or cook. I was so naive, so I was just like, I want to be a cook. I don't want to do the other job. I'm scared. So being in the food service, my first duty station was in 29 Palms. I was with 3rd Battalion Submarines. And working with those guys on a constant basis and seeing what they go through is what really struck that passion for me. These guys are always in the field. They never have time to eat. They're always on the move. And they're just so, their time is gone pretty much. They're constantly training every day, all day, nonstop. And it took me to where I was like, what can I do to make these guys' lives a little better? And then so I started going home, cooking for my wife, cooking for my kids, and having them taste it. How do we think it is? And then they say yes, and I applied that to the field. If I can serve it to my family, I will serve it to you. And when that happened, and the reaction that I was getting from those Marines, it made me even more passionate about it. So then going back to the chow hall, I just went nuts. I went crazy. It was like a kid in the candy store. All the stuff I had around me. How can I do this? How can I make this? How can I do that? And how can I incorporate this into the field feeding? And that's what really struck it. And because being in the field, all we have are heat and serves. And what a heat and serve is basically a tray of food, a tray of packed food you put inside of boiling water, which goes into a tray ration heating system. And all it does is heat up the food, and you open it up and you serve it. Taking that and saying, what can I do to make it better? And then reflecting back on how I cook for my family, that's how I made it better. And that's how those Marines appreciated me a lot more, excuse me, and worked harder, trained harder, and became better at the job because of what I was able to do. So I would definitely say my passion came from that, absolutely. Some of the differences what I would say would have to be the kitchen. The kitchen would definitely be one of the differences because working in like I guess you could say a gourmet kitchen versus EFK, which is Expeditionary Field Kitchen, which runs on JPA. And so you constantly run to the things of one piece of gear not working, you have to be able to improvise. Versus, oh yeah, it's okay.
That's every time we get on the stop. That's kind of a short run.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Can you kind of explain some of the differences again of working in a gourmet restaurant to now working out in the field?
So working in a gourmet kitchen to working in an expeditionary field kitchen, or as a field service knows as EFK, would definitely be the capabilities we have. So in the EFK, everything runs on JPA. So everything has powered by fuel. And say if a fuel line's down or a piece of that equipment that goes to the EFK is down, we have to improvise, and it causes some type of a struggle and a time restraint. Versus being in a gourmet kitchen, everything is on gas and everything is somewhat electrical and it works. It's the maintenance on it is a constant. So it tends to work a little better. I'm not saying that the maintenance inside the EFKs aren't as constant. It's just you never know. You never know. The chances of a piece of gear going down inside the EFK is a lot higher than it would be in an actual kitchen. The worst that can happen in the kitchen is you break a pot, you break a pan, your gas doesn't work or something like that. But inside of the EFK, you run into a lot of that. Being as though every piece of equipment we have in there runs on one source of fuel and one specific fuel line, it could be numerous things. The fuel line's not working, the fuel pump isn't working, the motor isn't working, or the, what else? What else can it be? Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So with those, it can definitely be a difference. Another thing is the food that we get. It's a lesser quality, given, yes, because working in the gourmet side, you can go to the markets and buy everything fresh, from the produce all the way up to the meats. Working with the EFK, we're provided which are UGR mods, which is essentially a giant MRE. You know what I mean? We take it and we utilize what we have, from canned meats to canned vegetables, so on and so forth. To do that and to make something incredible, so taking canned chicken and mixing it with canned meat and the canned vegetables, and taking some biscuit mix and putting on top of that, we can make pot pies, or something similar to that. It may not be what you would get in a restaurant, but it's definitely the best we can definitely do out in the field. And given that we can provide us with enhancements that we order, we can definitely up that up a notch, using the fresh produce like that. But that's typically the main differences that I've experienced working from the kitchen to the field. So to put a little Thai influence into the food, I've been talking with most of the Thai Marines here, and they tell me what they taste, or going on to the markets and telling me how it's supposed to taste, and trying it myself. And to put those spices into the food that we have, for example, let's say we take shepherd's pie, correct? And we do something, so Thai food is typically spicy, and to incorporate those spices into a shepherd's pie, utilizing the meats that we have and so on and so forth, is definitely a different flavor profile on what it is. So shepherd's pie is normally like a savory dish, and with the spices that we get from the Thai markets, it's definitely something different. Using the Thai peppers, the chilies, the produce, the flavors of it can make a huge difference into what we can do. And so it can go from a normal shepherd's pie to a Thai influenced shepherd's pie. I don't know how we would call it, but it's definitely a difference in the flavors. Absolutely, 100%. So by going to the markets and buying the produce and buying the spices is what makes a big difference in that. So my Marines and I are here to provide culinary support for the Marines and sailors aboard Camp Jasada, and or further out even to the further camps. If they need help, then we actually supply them as well for hot chow or MREs or water. So essentially, we're here to support any and everybody that come aboard this camp.
And why is it important that you have you Marines out here to support?
So being out here, we pretty much will make it like you get a home cooked meal for breakfast and dinner, right? So the Marines out here, they're training hard, they're working hard, they're practicing their skill sets, and being in the conditions that are given to us, the heat, the humidity, to actually come to us and to get a home cooked meal, it's definitely a big morale booster for them. It definitely makes them train harder, work harder, and do the best they can at what they're doing, and to make this operation as smooth as possible. So it's very important for us to do that for these Marines. Absolutely. My expectation for those Marines to hope that they feel walking out of here with a sense of fulfillment. At a long day's work, they had a good meal. Now they're gonna go to the racks, get some good sleep, maybe go to the MCCS, get some Wi-Fi, talk to their families. It's basically for them to feel good about themselves and to feel good that, they aren't forgotten and that their hard work is definitely not going unnoticed. That's why my team and I are here to make sure these Marines are being well taken care of. So walking away from this exercise, I would like for them to walk away with, the knowing that they are very appreciated and that what we do is a thankless job, absolutely. But they have to know that regardless of what, your job is to make sure that everybody eats. You know what I mean? Everybody will eat, everybody will leave out here full. If somebody's hungry, we're not doing our job. So I just really would like them to go away with the importance of why it is so important and so, what we do is so needed. That's what I really want them to walk away for. And to know that they are very appreciated for the hard work they do. Because being in food service, the hours are countless. The time we put into operations or just meals period is ridiculous. And I would definitely want them to know, like I say it again, and I said, that they are very appreciated, and that what we do here it's a big help to the Marines around us.